Avengers!
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I'm your host, Josh Scar. Alex has the week off because he is getting stuff done to his mouth by a dentist. And I am joined this week by Luis. Luis, how you doing?
By a dentist? A likely story. Anyway, I mean, hi. Yes, I'm alive. I'm here.
Well, if you remember, he is a cat person. He is a tabaxi, an anthropomorphic cat, and he's getting people teeth instead of his usual his cat teeth because he's tired of not being able to eat pizza properly.
If he would have been just eating his fucking crunchy treats and shit that are taking care of his teeth, he wouldn't have this problem. Call himself.
Have you ever seen the
What's wrong with
pictures
him?
of the cat with people teeth? Like, I love the pictures of the shark with people teeth. I think that's one of my favorite memes. But cats with people teeth, no.
I mean,
But with Luis being here, that means he's got a buddy in tow. Luis, who is with you?
this is a guy named Slade who isn't really part of the podcast, but it seems like he's always part of the podcast when I'm around, so he's part of the podcast. Hi, Slade.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hello, Luis. I'm good. Y'all are gonna hate me when I tell you, but I'm cold. I know y'all are getting snow, and I live here in the South where it's normally warm, but it's like 40 and I'm over it. All right.
And kicked off the podcast.
40. I would have been in shorts today if it was.
I'm
40.
trying to figure out how to relate to the snowblower elitists that I'm talking to at the moment. So,
I guess in your terms would be like riding more, essentially. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Zero
exactly.
turn.
Which I am a zero turn
Zero
elitist.
turn.
So I am that elitist.
There you go. Welcome to the club, buddy.
Hooray!
Yeah, I think I'm still like 10 years away from getting any kind of riding lawnmower, if not more. Just because my yard's not that big, so I don't mind using the push mower, and I still get people looking at my yard going like, "You push mow that?" Like, yeah,
same.
The fuck
also,
I?
same. Like my yard is big for what I grew up with. Like growing up in Florida with cookie cutter houses, like you have maybe like 0.05 acres of like anything,
Right?
And your backyard is the shape of a Tetris L, and that's it. And so like for me, like this is a huge ass yard. Like if you gift me a riding mower, I'm not gonna tell you no. However, I can do without. It's fine. Snowblower, on the other hand, I need that shit. I can't shovel anymore.
Especially with the snow we got today.
In my life.
Yeah,
and wet, nasty, slushy snow. Ugh.
I grew up as a kid. I grew up with a driveway that I had to have been at least 75 yards long. It was a long ass driveway that I had to shovel. My parents did not buy a snowblower. They didn't trust me with a snowblower.
Good Lord.
So
I just realized we called back to the snowblower thing and we weren't even recording during that. So people have no fucking clue.
Well, this has been a running gag. I shared the elitist with the snowblower story that I shared with you.
Yeah.
I know you and Matt don't listen to the podcast, so I had to share that with you beforehand. Otherwise, you'd have been like, "What the fuck are you talking about, elitist with a snowblower?"
I picked some here and there, but to be honest, like I told you guys, I have literally been dead to the world for the last 3 months. Like I don't even think my wife recognizes me anymore. My son just keeps yelling at me every time, like, "You're going back to work? I'm not gonna see you again." God, like I know I'm turning into one of those movie dads that like,
who are you?
Eventually they're gonna call me in on Christmas Day, and we're like, "I have to work, guys." Like, "Oh, it's Christmas, Dad." I'm gonna turn into the dad from Elf. I'm gonna turn into that guy.
Yep.
So
I was thinking more Arnold Schwarzenegger and Turbo. Jingle All the Way.
Put that cookie down.
So, with Slade and Lewis here, everyone should know by now it's an anime episode. We are here to close out a chapter in Slade's life with Attack on Titan fully coming to an end. And Lewis's
10 years.
life.
10 years.
I remember Lewis and Scotty pushing me and Ricky to watch this not too long after we had gotten married. So yeah, this has been a long time coming.
I'm glad I was right, by the way, and you never listened to me.
Not about you and Ricky, but about Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky's still wrong about me, so I'm just hoping she doesn't listen to this episode and finally figure something out.
You're not supposed to give away the playbook, man.
But before we get into this too deep, we are going to hear from Antonio and Deanna over at the MILF and Me podcast.
The what?
The MILF and Me, starring Antonio Palacios and Deanna.
I tip my hat to that name. I tip my hat to that podcast name. That is amazing. Continue on with the advertisement, sir.
Face it, dating sucked in your 20s, gets worse in your 30s, and your 40s, forget it.
It's a cesspool out there, and we're your flotation device.
Join us weekly for saucy chat, ridiculous love gurus,
and MILF-worthy fun to spice up your life.
The MILF and Me Podcast. Every Wednesday on your favorite pod platform.
And the MILFandMePod.com.
The MILF and Me Podcast.
And we're back, and Lewis is stunned at the quality of what the MILF and Me podcast is. I feel like this is the second straight time we've had the MILF and Me promo run, and we've had someone be like, "Oh, excuse me, I have to go look up the discography on this podcast."
It's such a great name. It's like a catcher. You're like, I'm sorry, the MILF and who?
Absolutely, because you're not expecting that, especially like run of the mill
The Who and Me
conversation.
Right, especially for you're thinking like podcast is typically like now 3 dudes, right? And it's
for sure.
That's what and then you hear MILF and Me, you're like, hello, my interest.
Now we gotta see who's gonna be the first to start the DILF and Me, huh? Let's go.
There we go. Antonio, there's your 5th podcast or 7th or however many you have.
I think he's already doing that. It's called the Between or not no
Between Two DILFs.
I was gonna say Between Two Pods, but that's Slade's. No, it's Back to the Balcony. That's Antonio and Justin's other podcast. And no, I'm sorry, both those dudes are DILFs, and if I swung that way, they'd be getting phone calls every day. All right, well, like last time, I think I'm gonna let you guys kind of lead this conversation. I have a few questions regarding the finales of this show, the final season, part 2, part 3, or whatever you want to get into it. Like, the memes are over and done with, but the last time we talked about Attack on Titan, I kind of let you guys lead the conversation because not to.
It's our show, not yours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking senpais.
This is Lewis and Slade time.
Yes. We're talking a bunch of anime stuff that you guys can be like, "Hey, Josh, did you like this?" No, fuck off. We're going to talk about it for the next 10 minutes.
That's pretty true, actually. But no, I want to start off because the finale of Attack on Titan on the manga was like already like just so horrendous to most. It split a lot of people up. After I saw the ending here, I went back to try to understand like what the big deal was, and I finally understood it after reading into it. Like, holy crap, that was a very awful landing on the manga. But now that we've all seen the full ending, Josh as well, who's not like fully into the manga and into anime and everything, I just want to know off the bat, good ending, bad ending. What do you guys think?
And I got to tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything down to the last minute details.
Perfect. I was so happy just to see the end. Just literally the words "the end." It's a story. It's wrapped up as it needs to be. Nice little package. I'm very happy with it.
Josh?
I'm sad.
Is it Potato Girl? Is it coming back?
Oh God, that I remember Slade saying he had seen this and he cried.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can see certain moments here and there where Slade probably got a little emotional, and like Levi seeing his people. And I got pissed when Levi saw the scouts and like, where the fuck is my Potato Bay? And then she shows up in front of Connie and Jean. And I was like,
where it matters.
Sasha. Yeah. Yes. I fully understand why Sasha is not with the scouts. She isn't appearing in front of these people instead.
Yep.
But God damn, am I sad? Like this show did not give you any joy in the sense of like that was closure to a story brings you joy, which it's true to this story and true to this world. And so I applaud it for not just going full Disney ending.
Yeah, sticking to his guns. I completely commend that.
I am curious what the anime ending is though, because I am
the manga
ending.
Manga, yes, I'm sorry. The manga ending is just because it is so controversial and divisive.
Right. Very much so.
about to say, Lewis, you've read it recently, but after you get to your point, because you've read it recently, I haven't, but I do want to talk about like the last 3 pages is what I would like to talk about.
That's essentially all it took to divide people. Absolutely. I know where you're coming with that, but
okay.
But no, I'm in agreement with you guys. I think the ending was perfection. And the way they kept going, which apparently wasn't part of the manga, they kept going towards the end. During the credits, you saw the scenes of like essentially just doesn't matter what everybody just went through. It doesn't matter that the world just went through like genocide and almost survived, and they should all be working together. Like the cycle just eventually repeats itself.
Right.
But no, I think it was delivered very well. As far as the controversy thing, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to lead off with that or just dive into other questions, but essentially the big controversy, if you will, with the ending, the moment that it's spoilers, by the way. So if you're already here, too late, sorry. But the moment at the end where Aaron and Armin are talking to each other in the
paths,
the separate world, the separate world. Yeah, you're going through
the paths.
You're going, yeah, exactly. You're going through that. They're in the separate world where things are happening. Aaron starts kind of like opening up, like, "Hey, I did this. I did this for you guys. I did this to protect you guys. I'm so sorry, whatever this and that." And then he goes, "I'm sorry that essentially." Super paraphrasing here because I don't remember the exact line, but I'm gonna be going to hell because I did all the evil things for you guys. And Armin just responds and goes, "Thanks, buddy. Thanks for being evil for us." And they hug it out. And like that was it. There was no nuance, no nothing to like, no taking it back, no like what the fuck are you talking about? It was just like, "Oh, thanks for killing everyone for us, buddy. Come here, hug it out. Right at the chin. Let's bygones be bygones. Water under the bridge. Don't mind the millions of death bodies behind us." And that broke a lot of people, and I can see why, because everything that the story was trying to lay out, the moral of the story, if you will, that they were laying out, is pretty much thrown into the dumpster with that. These were friendships that were based on tight friendships, but there were very much nuances, very much infighting within their mental struggles of like, do I still love Aaron? Do I want to kill Aaron to stop him because I love him? Whatever. Like, and that was just thrown out the window with that one page. I don't know about the other remaining pages though. There's
Yeah, so the other thing I want to talk about is the last 3 pages. So, in the anime, the other thing where I think it's correcting the ending, and this is like massive spoilers, which, hey, you clicked on this episode, you knew what you're getting into. But while the credits are rolling, as Lewis was saying, you see the world progress. Like after the Titans are gone, you see Parody develop, and you're watching all this from the tree that the show started at and the show finishes at.
Ends at, yeah.
And you're watching all this, and you watch the world end in nuclear annihilation, and a unnamed boy and his dog go into the same tree that started everything. Now, this is the big anime ending. In the manga, however, the last 3 pages cut to a alternative universe, Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin, and it's them in a movie theater, and they had just been watching this all like a movie.
I didn't know about that last part.
And the legit comment, I forgot if it's Armin or Aaron who says it. Do you think people are going to be upset with the ending? It's like the legit. It's like a little fourth wall breaking.
That's not real. There's no way that's real.
I didn't know about that. Oh my God.
He's trying to go get visual proof.
I'm about to ask the wife.
He prepped this. No, Slade, you made this in preparation for this episode. I don't believe that this is real.
Oh my God. Oh, but isn't that just like the post flavor random thing? Like not really part of it.
No, it's literally like you turn the page from the boy finding the tree to and it seems just like it's a brief conversation. It takes place in 2 pages.
Up top though says
Attack on Schools.
Yeah, I know, but it's supposed to be the post like world or whatever is what it's designed as.
I don't know. That seems like it's like the flavor at the end of the end of the manga, end of the.
I don't know. Marco is dead in the background. You figure that one out.
Oh my Lord.
That kind of thing is sticking around in it, so I don't know. You tell me.
I got nothing. Wow. Wow.
I don't.
Dude.
What a weird joke to end this manga.
I am going to go on a limb here and a whim here, and say that has to be the flavor at the end of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just him just fucking around. A lot
That's
of
a
mangas
weird-
do that.
that's a
lot
weird
of Shonen
thing.
Jump does that.
But here's what I would like to know from Josh, because you've watched both episodes recently. Because you had some strong feelings on the final season, part 3.
Part 4, part 1.
Part 27.
The sequel.
Yeah.
So the first hour-long special. Do you want to start there with your feelings on it, and then we could talk about the last episode after that?
So before we get into that, I need you guys to remind me, where does that first like mini movie start?
Well, it ends. It ends was essentially with
Did the rumbling start, and then the two
yeah,
movies
the
are
rumble-
essentially about stopping
yeah,
the rumbling?
starts.
Yeah.
The rumbling started at the end there. Yeah. Well, it started in midway, I should say.
Well, the rumbling has started, and then they're like, well, you have the first hour special, which is the rumbling is going on. And well, the rumbling started in season 4, but like the rumbling has really
Progressed.
started killing people. Yeah.
If I'm understanding what Slade is trying to get to, I feel like the first movie, the first part of this last like 2.5 hour movie that they've broken up into 2 parts, it does a really great job of setting up the finale, the big final fight with Aaron and the founder and everything. But they kind of lose a little bit of steam for me, and I'm really glad I didn't have to wait 8 months, a year, however long it was to get to
Right.
the final, because Flock is not enough of a bad guy to be the satisfactory ending of that part of this movie. Because I love the image of Flock just like bouncing along behind the boat
For sure.
while
sure.
he's
100%.
dying.
100%.
But like his comeuppance comes at such a cost.
Yep.
And I fucking hate it because
That's
Flock is the fucking worst.
Yes.
You nailed it. That's the whole point, is to just
I
feel
know, and I
absolute seething
fucking hate it.
hatred. But that means they did a good job. They nailed that fucking landing there, because Flock, you never care about Flock. Flock was always an asshole. Flock was always a jerk. Flock was always on the back end. And then he disappears. And then he comes back as a Jaegerist. Like,
Yeah.
fuck you, guy. No.
And-
and then as a Jaegerist, kills how many people, Slade? Like, how many
Half
people
of
does he-
Paradis, really, or half of the military
Paradise,
police, or
yeah.
Yeah,
half the scouts.
Yeah, nearly all the scouts are gone
Yeah,
because of it.
essentially.
Yeah.
And then effectively takes out Hanji at the end of the day too, which should piss you even more off, because
Yeah.
fuck you, dude.
That's what I was going to bring up. I found in our group chat where Josh was watching the first part, or the first hour-long special, Hanji going out to an Evanescence montage is pretty great. Quote unquote, holy crap, I didn't expect her to explode. That's the one time my girlfriend cried in all of this. Hanji was her favorite character. Yep.
I shed tears.
Yep.
My wife was aware, and she was trying to prep me without spoiling me. And when that happened, I was in just shedding tears.
Yeah.
Because she was a badass. I
yeah.
at least appreciate that she got an amazing death. And by that, I mean like an honorable fucking death. Like, she went out being the badass that she is, loving what she was doing. And then even at the end, she was like, oh God, it's hot. I'm dying. Essentially, it's like, she's
Yeah.
like, well, this is me.
Went out in a literal ball of fire.
Literal ball of fire.
No.
God damn.
And then
I'm going to cry all over again.
yeah. I'd also like to point out, Josh pointing out, seeing Ervin and the rest of the scouts in the afterlife. And I like immediately Hanji starts complaining about how hard it was to be the commander of the scouts. It's the first thing she does.
I had to go back and watch that scene again because I immediately like Bernstein Bears Mandela affected myself, because I thought like she woke up and she had both eyes and everything immediately after I saw it. And so I was like, holy crap, they did the obvious thing and no one caught on until Ervin showed up. And you're like, oh, there it is. And then I like went back. It's like, oh no, they did a good fake out of like consistency. So she like
Right.
went out as she was. She's in the afterlife that way. So like I was like, okay, no, it makes sense. But shouldn't she be whole again, but no, that's not this fucking world. This world doesn't give you shit back.
No.
It just takes
No.
and takes.
It's just
There's also a small detail in that, Josh. I don't know if you noticed, but as where the rest of the scouts are like welcoming her essentially to the afterlife, if you noticed, Sasha is looking out towards the airplane,
Oh, I didn't
watching
notice that,
watching
no.
for her friends. Yeah, she's the only one turned the other way, looking at the
I
airplane.
didn't notice that. That's
Yeah.
rad.
My potato bay.
Those little intricacies that they do, I love that shit, man.
Josh also put the gif of, all right, well, I'm gonna go cry now.
Yeah, that was one of the few moments in this where it really just, it was a moment so well punctuated for me. I was like, I feel it. I can, yeah, that's the good shit right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then your final thought from the messages was you're going to end it without taking out the Beast Titan. Flock wasn't enough closure.
Which, at least after watching the final,
I love how we have to punctuate that, by the way.
Yeah.
I understand why you couldn't have ended it with the Beast Titan being the final fight, because he's Aaron's connection to the founder because he has the royal blood. So if you take out the Beast Titan, you've essentially nullified his connection to the founder, and you kick off the final like 20 minutes of the movie when you have 90 minutes still to go.
Right. There's also the excellent, well, we're getting into the final part. There is the excellent conversation between Armand and Zeke.
That was
as
great.
well.
Yes.
That was, yes, that one got me in the feels too, just because just the conversation about how pointless it is to play catch with your dad or your father figure, but in the
There's a great
moment
point to
and
it.
looking back on it, it feels like that is your purpose.
That's the point.
And you're happy. You're happy. There's no point, but you're happy.
Exactly. And that was so poignant and so beautiful that even someone as awful as Zeke being the person to emphasize that point just resonates so strongly in this show.
Well, because Zeke, right, he brings it up himself, and like he's still blind to it to the point. Arm is like, "Yeah, you fucking idiot. That is the point." And then he takes himself back, like, "Wait, oh shit, I had the answer in my head the whole time."
Yep.
Moron.
And that's why he could never understand Ymir, because he couldn't it's
Yep.
such a simple point. But I think that's another thing the show does such a great job of, is humanizing even the villains.
Mhm.
You know,
Besides Flock, fuck him.
yeah, you have two kind of villains, I think, that are always really, really good. There are the ones that are humanized, like Zeke. And then you have the other side, which is Flock, which is so cartoonishly evil that you just have the massive hatred for them.
No, there's a third type. I mean, it's got nothing to do with the anime, but you have the complete chaotic evil, like, you know,
The Joker.
The Joker, right?
Right.
Exactly. Who just, you don't need to know a backstory. You don't want a backstory. He just is. Which those are great.
Yeah, that's what I mean by comedically evil. Like, just
Well, I think to Lewis's point, there's the bad guys who are so evil that you just can do nothing but hate them.
Right.
Like Joaquin Phoenix's character in Gladiator and Jared Leto's Joker, who's just bad.
that is a joke.
even I know that.
Yeah, there's nothing redeemable about them. There's nothing interesting beyond that they are evil. But then there's the evil that is like Heath Ledger's Joker, where it's just they're so charismatic and intriguing that like there's you see that why people would follow them or like be a part of their gang. Of like there's something about this dude,
And it
Yeah.
fucking irks you, like, to a core.
yeah,
And then there's, like you said, the redeemable evil. Like, there's a humanization behind it. Where, like, we get why you're here. You fucked up, bro. That's
Yeah.
Aaron's journey.
Yeah,
With the audience and with himself.
Right.
You know, from the very beginning, like, oh my god, fuck these Titans, they're eating us, they're devouring us, we can't be humans, I'm gonna take all of them down. And then you find that at the end that future Aaron was just whispering in past Aaron's ears these little random tidbits to do the thing. Poor young Aaron has no fucking idea. He's just like, okay, sure, bro. He thinks he's still doing good, and eventually goes full circle of like, I am killing everyone, but I still think this is the right thing to do because we're all fucked anyway.
Right. And
It's
that's a big part of that conversation between him and Armin when they're just walking, you know, they go see the world like they wanted to together.
Mhm.
You know, they go see the
Mhm.
rivers of fires, oceans that are so big you can't see the other side of them. They see the Aureole Borealis. You know, they go do all the things they wanted to do, and they have a great conversation as they walk through it.
I'm sorry, Slade, did you say Oriole?
Is that how you say it?
Borealis?
Did I miss?
Aurora.
Oh no.
Aurora Borealis.
What am I thinking of?
A bird?
Oh no,
Baseball.
no, the boat in Portal 2. That's what I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Oh,
Oh,
That's actually that's what it's called. Anyways,
the Borealis.
yeah,
David Boreanaz.
yeah.
That's still one of my favorite Family Guy jokes is David Boreanaz.
So the second half, so like the final episode, as we're referring to it, it starts off so great. You have a lot of, even then, still just some good character development. Starts off with everybody trying to stop Aaron, but he has control over, well, everything. And just Armin's whole initial bit with him letting out how much he hates himself.
Mm-hmm.
Even in like the last episode, where it's only 90 minutes, you're still having character development. I don't know how you do it. Yeah.
And I disagree with Armin. I didn't like Armin as a character, as a young Armin, but like he had some amazing growth, and like he needs to back off himself.
Yeah, that's one of the things my girlfriend and I were talking about, is how much growth like all the characters had at, to the very end. When we started watching it, she really hated Rhina, and at the end of it, she's like, "I see what you mean. He's one of the best written characters." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah, no, but
yeah."
My wife was always pushing me like, "No, Reiner's awesome. Reiner's." I'm like, "No, fuck Reiner. Fuck what he did back then, and the whys and this and that." Then development. Like, oh no, he was just put in a very precarious situation that like,
right.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And yeah, no, Reiner grew to be amazing. Even the other side scouts.
I was thinking like Jean has such a
Connie?
great art. Yeah.
Connie.
Sorry,
Annie.
Yeah.
No. Annie, Connie. Bald.
Connie is
Connie.
the boy. Annie
Connie.
is the female
Connie.
Titan.
Connie. I just flipped him. I don't know why. But Connie, even still, like a little bit of development, like he's still scared shitless at the end. And he's like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but we got to do it. And as he's fighting and swinging around the fucking skeleton beast thing, like shit in his pants, but still getting things done. Like that's just well written.
That's who he is. He's
Yeah.
just the guy. He's too stupid to be scared. That's his whole thing. And he's one of the few people in this show that actually gets a happy ending to an extent. Like he lost his surrogate sister in Sasha, but one of his biggest things is he lost his mom to the
Titan serum,
the Titan bomb or whatever you want to call it, where they gassed the entire town.
Yeah.
Mhm.
With the conclusion of the show or of the conflict in their time, he gets his mom back at the very least, and that's rare to have some kind of happy moment.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
We can also talk about one of the things I want to bring up is there's a bit with the cabin with Aaron and Mikasa, and essentially they were there for not in real time but in Path's time for 4 years. They got to spend there in the cabin by themselves, living a peaceful life.
That was after the whole sequence where they like go party with a bunch of refugees and have ice cream and stuff in Marley, right?
No. It's in this last episode when it's just them and that cabin.
But I'm just saying, like,
yes,
the frame of the timeline, because like we flash back to it, but it was after they had that big party.
They sailed essentially and all that.
Yeah,
shit.
they like made a reconnaissance mission to Marley and posed as tourists, and then they came back, and that's when Aaron and Mikasa like disappeared for a little while.
Yeah, he implanted that memory that they had the rest of his life essentially there.
Was that 4 years?
That's what it was supposed to.
Correct?
It was supposed to be 4 years because that's all he would have left to live at that age.
Well, yeah, but that's not before he disconnected from them and started doing his old.
No. The fake memories that he gave her. Like how everybody had. How like everybody had the conversation with them.
Yes. Sorry.
That was hers.
You're right.
Okay, so those were implanted. They weren't authentic memories.
Right. No.
Got it. Okay.
None of it actually happened.
Okay, so then I have to bring up this moment because it's one of the few lighthearted moments in this final episode where Armin and Aaron are having a conversation and Aaron starts like breaking down about how like Mikasa is going to move on real quickly once he's gone. And Armin's like, hey, maybe I'll take a shot. And I was like, that's weird. He's into Annie. Why would he be doing this? But he's like just trying to poke. He was just trying to
that
poke
was
fun
all
at Aaron.
joking, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's when we also get the fucking breakdown of Aaron, like,
And he's like,
No.
at least I was hoping it would at least be 10 years.
Yeah, she's got to miss me
Fuck
for
you,
10
man,
years.
10 years.
I don't want Mikasa to be with anyone else. Mikasa's mine. I didn't want anything else to happen. Like, in all this time, like, he never showed any care or
Well, he
anything
couldn't.
to her.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of whether he couldn't or could. Again, this was still all within his own autonomy. Like, he could have if he fucking wanted to.
Right.
He absolutely could have. This was the part where the humanization of Aaron breaks down, where we're like, oh, you're a selfish asshole. Like, that's the moment where you as the reader, you as the viewer, finally look at Aaron and go like, okay, I don't like you. Like, that, to me, that's where that moment came in. Like, all of this was for your friends, but partially was because you are in love with Mikasa. You don't want her to fucking be with anyone else,
Mhm.
but you're also doing it so she can have the rest of her life, pain free.
But
or
he
whatever,
loves her
with or without you.
It's part of the whole thing that that Armin says, that Aaron had said before. If you love something so much that you can't let it go, you didn't love it in the first place. And that's him saying, like, I have to let Mikasa go because I love her.
Mhm.
And so, like, I see the parallels there. I see where you're coming from, but I think it is one of those. It's the Air Bud moment where he's like, "Get out of here! I hate you!" Blah 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 blah. Where it's any animal movie where they have to let them go in the all is lost moment, so that they can save them and protect them, and then they come back at the end anyway.
Sure, but the selfishness just flourishes with that for me. I mean, that's what I got out of that. And that,
Yeah, but this conversation kind of leads me into, maybe it's a little ambiguous, maybe it's not. You guys seem pretty set on the idea that this was all Aaron working towards this, but like, I feel like there's some muddied waters here, because is Aaron stuck on this path? He's talked about in the episode, he talks about how he tries to do something different, and yet he keeps coming back to these memories and everything that he's seen before. So like, it feels more like he's devoid of free will despite being the Attack Titan, because the whole thing with the Attack Titan is that they're driven towards freedom, but he seems more like he is stuck to the will of Emir, or the founding Titan.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing, is that he says it himself. He's a slave to freedom. That's and when he
But
says
that makes no sense.
That's why that's the selfishness coming in. He's a slave to freedom. Like, he can choose to do whatever the fuck he wants. And yeah, he's kind of a slave to Ymir, because like the kind of a puppet situation, but like, he can do it however he wants. But he's noticed that the only outcome that he wants, that he thinks is the only way to do it, is to do what he's doing. He could still change at any point in time doing this shit. He does not have to. He can try any other way, but he's already like beat it into his own head, like that this is the only way. It's a weird roundabout way of saying, like, you're right, but you're not right.
Okay.
That's the only thing I got.
And because in his way, he still wants to defeat and destroy all the Titans, and this is the only way he can get to it.
He can't separate himself.
Well, it's that, and it's also like, he wants to do it after his mom died, was to protect and save everybody. This is the only way he can think to do it, and that's also brought up.
But he made his own mother get chewed up, and
by
so,
his
like,
by his
again,
stepmom.
Whatever. Either way, it doesn't matter. Like, he still had, there was still the connection there,
right?
And he even said it like, that's, I had to do it. I didn't want to, but I had to do it. So, like, again, like, it's wrong. He shouldn't have. He had complete control over that, no matter what. He could have not.
Right.
But in his own stupid, selfish, senseless way, like, that's still the only answer. Like, take sorry, Slade, I don't know how much you're into the Avengers or anything like that. Take that scene from the Avengers with Doctor Strange. Sat there like, I saw like 2 billion different scenarios, and like, this is the best outcome. Like, that's essentially what he's going through right now. Like, I've seen all these scenarios. This is still the best outcome, which is a bunch of bullshit. The difference is Doctor Strange is true. Aaron's bullshit.
Well, it's also the fact that the story just, if we get to the very end of it, the story just repeats itself. Another person finds the tree, and they'll end up getting the bug again, and it starts over. And when I say that, it is just that, though, and I think that's part of what Aaron is seeing, is like, he knows that it's just going to repeat, and he knows that the people that he knows and that are alive now will be fine. It's that like so the last two people you see that are going into the tree is the boy and the dog. And then if you look on the Founding Titans back, there's like a man and a dog together.
When?
When?
On their so you know when everybody's fighting on Aaron's back,
Sure.
there is a dog Titan and there is a man like standing next to each other.
I know there's the Okapi one that I've accepted that they pronounce certain things weirdly to kind of line up with the Japanese pronunciations, like calling Gabby Gabi and all these other things. But like when they called the Okapi an Okapi consistently for like 2 straight minutes, they're like, get the Okapi, it's there. There's the Okapi. Like, it's an Okapi. Stop it. It's an Okapi. And I know like that's probably more of a regional American dialect thing, but still just that one was driving me just up a wall.
Right. I just sent y'all the photo in Discord of the dog Titan.
And the Okapi was a beast titan, I would assume. I love that Mikasa could not decide what it was.
Yeah.
So it's a beast titan. It could be a cart titan.
Yeah. Oh, can we talk about Peak and the Cart Titan, by the way, and just how awesome she is as a fighter?
That was so good.
Oh, yeah, she's outright a badass. Like
Every time the cart got destroyed, you just see her like somersaulting out the
Popping
back
out.
of it, and then just spawning another one, and we're just going over and over and over again. That amazing. We've talked a lot about Reiner and his growth and everything in this, but like the fact that at the beginning of season 4, he's very like suicidal and doesn't want to, exist anymore. And at this point, he's fighting to the bitter end, like spears sticking out of his back, doing everything he can for the like existence of humanity. That's amazing.
No, yeah, that was amazing. That was phenomenal. But yeah, no, the sorry, back to the dog thing. No, they can't be the connection. They cannot be the connection. No, I refuse to believe that.
There's the dog Titan. All fours running.
But he's got human
Oh.
hands, which is, I mean, the Titans are disconcerting anyway, but
That could just be an animation choice. I have no idea, but it is a thing.
they also talk about how they get into the fact that apparently Titans or people with the power of the 9 at least, can figure out how to manipulate their shapes, their forms, because what's his face? Not Flock. Falco, Flint, whatever his name is. He becomes as the Jaw Titan, he becomes a bird.
Big bird.
And
Yeah.
becomes more of a
That's
beak
right.
Titan.
Well, I think Annie is the one who says it. Like that's like the final form of the Jaw Titan. Kind of like how Zeke's Beast Titan is much better than I'm forgetting the doctor's name who was like treating him as a son. His like adoptive father.
Gotcha.
They said that was like the weakest Titan, and then when Zeke gets it,
He's been doing
the
things that they never.
Beard,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just like an evolved form of a Titan or of that Titan.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's like the whole tree. Like to me, it was the tree situation of the boy and his dog. Like I don't think he was gonna get the bug back because like the bug was annihilated. The whole bug with Ymir and all that crap. Like that was annihilated. We saw it just absolutely just disintegrate into nothingness.
Aaron technically still had the ability of the founder and the attack Titan, so you could assume I think it's logical to assume that its essence carried on with him. Hence, why the tree grows the way it does.
You think? I thought it was just a symbolism to just like here we go again, but like not in the form of like the Titans. Here we go again. Just like shit's going downhill again.
It very well could be.
I think it's a little column A, column B between the two of you, if I'm honest.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
It's open to interpretation on what the end result.
I'd rather like humanity comes back and shits the bed again versus like the Titans are coming back. That'd make me sad. Like at the very least, Aaron was able to, well, with Aaron's way, he was like literally able to just demolish the idea of Titans going forward. Once these Titans die, they're done. It takes them with them or whatever, and that's it. So,
But it also still sticks with the theming of the show, that is the cycle of violence, where
Right.
And just what's the word I'm looking for?
sadness.
Yeah, the sadness.
I think it's just humanity at its worst, but like honest. Because Josh, you and I were kind of talking about also beforehand, like just the way it shows people, even in like a dire situation, the rumbling is coming towards you. You are going to die, right? And the Marlians are still being racist to the Eldians. Like,
Yeah, God, that scene pissed me off.
oh, I know. It should. It should make you mad. Like, there's no rational reason at this point you should still be like that. We're all going to die. We're all on equal playing ground right now.
Don't come closer. Click, click.
Yeah,
and even after the conflict is resolved, they immediately just pull their weapons out again, and they're like, "Prove to us you're no longer monsters." And it's like, how the hell do you expect me to do that?
Right. And I think it's Annie's dad who's like, if you get a blood test, and he's like, no, here and now. And it's like, what do you, they just stopped the rumbling. Why on earth, if they could just take out everybody else and just be the special people, like Armin said, they would do it.
I was fully expecting like Rhina to walk up and be like, look, I'm going to bite off my fucking thumb and nothing's going to happen. Like it felt like that was the only way that was going to be resolved. And thankfully, like no one had to maim themselves to have that happen.
Right.
But to get into a few more questions that I had with the resolution of this, they get into the fact that the founder has finally decided to start the rumbling and create this chain of events because of Mikasa. And I do not understand what her importance is for all of this. Is it the fact that through all of it, they've been able to determine that Mikasa is the one that will finally end the cycle because she would actually do the needful?
Partially, but I also think it's a bit of like parallel, if this makes sense. Because, Ymir's big thing was that the king...
It was love that she needed.
Yeah, she loved the king, and the king never showed it back. What does Eren do the whole show?
Never shows it back.
Never shows it back. And then...
Except to Armin. He's a fuckwad. Idiot. God.
Bromance, man.
Hey, he
Bromance.
had a thing for the He-Man haircut. What can you say?
No, I'm saying he professes his love for Mikasa to Armin in the little backwoods fucking non-existent area. I forget what it's called.
The paths.
God.
The paths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's what it is. So I think that's how Mikasa, ends it. And it's weird to say that like her final show of love is like mercy to Eren, because if you notice, he's looking down, his eyes are shut. He's not watching the rumbling happen, And he looks up and the last thing he sees is her.
Mm-hmm.
Chop.
I can see that.
Fuck, and then she fucking goes out and just makes out with that fucking decapitated head. Like,
well, they finally get their kiss.
Do they though? He's dead.
I was waiting for the head to say something, honestly. Like I did not put it past the show for him to be like, let's go.
Here's the thing,
And
Josh.
any other anime, probably.
Definitely Konosuba.
All this for a romance story. How does that make you feel?
Well, one of the things that
It's
like
not a romance story.
not just like the theming journey, but like the literal journey that this show takes you on, where you feel like you're in this post-apocalyptic, weird dystopian world where humanity is stuck in this like maybe 5-mile wide layer of rings.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the last bastion of humanity. And then you find out, no, it's a Holocaust situation. It's a Gaza situation. That's in like the middle of season 3 or by the very end of season 3 where you get all this information, and there's still a whole other story to go through. Like, I would have been happy with just the little fantasy story where there's weird giants just trying to break into their gated community. And like that would have been fine. But no, we get this like deep lore filled world that is an allegory for just
racism, genocide.
Yeah. And it's
all that shit.
It's so much deeper than anything I would have ever thought of. We talked about this. When we started recording, where it's been 10 years. And I remember sitting down with Ricky watching this show and just turning it off because the Titans were weird looking and Ricky wasn't connecting with it. And I'm like, I can maybe get past this, but I'm not going to make Ricky sit down and watch this if she's not vibing with it. So I just like, whatever. And here I am 8-10 years later, having watched the entire show twice through now.
Now I was going to say, you talk about the fact that, the Eldians live on the island of Parody, and they live in the little like ring district, which is also based on like a real town in Germany that has like a couple rings, like walls to protect it. It's like a medieval town.
Yeah,
But
absolutely
the
allegories.
but the thing is though, they show you the map of the world in the first episode. Like in the title card where it says episode 1, you can see
They show they show a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Josh, if you didn't notice that, like they show a lot of shit in the opening, the endings, and then a lot of the title cards.
Yeah.
Like what's his name? Isayama, right?
Isayama.
Yeah.
Isayama.
Like, dude knew what he was doing from the get-go.
Right. So
Like,
this is also
holy shit.
It's like the first anime my girlfriend's ever watched because I was like, "Yep, no, we're gonna sit down and watch Attack on Titan." And she was showing it to her sister, and she was watching the first like couple episodes, and she was so mad at the foreshadowing. Like this is also
Dude, foreshadowing
this
up the yin yang, man.
the show is such a masterclass of foreshadowing. The fact that you can visibly see like Aaron and Zeke in like the first and second episode. In the second episode, you see Aaron get injected with the Titan serum to eat his dad. And I remember her sister was like, "Why does Aaron have the key to the basement all of a sudden? Where did he get that from?" And my girlfriend's sitting over there mad. She's like, "How did I not notice this?"
A lot of stuff like that.
And
And can you believe this is the first series this dude ever wrote?
Yeah. And this
Like,
it's so
wow.
it's so good. And
this is his To Kill a Mockingbird. Like he doesn't need to do another one.
I would love to see his beautiful minds room that just has everything connected, you know, just red string and tape and sticky notes all over like a room to bring everything back together, because it's so worth the rewatch all the way through just for those things and it's like even in boot camp, like, you know, we're going back to like what, episode 3 or 4 when they're being trained with the
first season shit.
yeah, the ODM gear. You see Aaron, like, you know, bust his ass learning how to use the ODM gear, and you see Titan steam coming off of him. You don't think anything about it. You just think that's like, oh, they're just showing that his head hurts.
Cartoony shit.
Yeah. No.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
I remember in my rewatch, I usually, hopefully no one from work is listening, but I usually like passively watch or listen to shows while I'm working. And I did that with my rewatch on Attack on Titan leading up to these last 2 episodes. And I kind of got a little too zoned in during the mission going to Aaron's house.
Yep.
And just like all the little things with Rhina when Annie shows up as the female Titan, and like he's steaming and all these visual cues, and it's like he got crunched. Like there's so much stuff that in the moment Armin should have been like, how are you alive? But he was just like so relieved that his friend wasn't dead. He didn't even stop to think logically about it.
No, because you have like, you know, the panic that you're in.
There's nothing
that.
to tell us that. Yeah.
And they don't even know that Aaron is not the only one right now. Like they don't know, like if, and that's again, part of the beauty of this show is that you think that like, oh, the will of Aaron has done something that just created him to be this transformative human Titan hybrid. And no, there's a whole shitload of lore that we will get to that is going to get into the history of all this.
Yep.
You have only just gotten to the first layer of this onion.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
very sad onion.
You think like a regular onion
like
makes you
that.
cry? This is like onion XL. All right.
This onion has been sitting there for 10 years, just steeping.
Yeah.
This is a blue ribbon onion.
It's
at
such
your county fair.
This is also one of the few like shows that even if somebody's like, you know, just not into anime, that because the writing is done so well.
Well, this show did that. This show brought in a lot of people who weren't really into anime. You know, I tried with Josh originally when it came out, and usually when it first came out, obviously there was no signs of any of this shit that we know now.
Right.
But I always pitch it to my friends like, this is like, do you watch Game of Thrones? Awesome. This is the Game of Thrones of fucking anime. Come sit down and watch it. And I usually always hyped it up to the episode where Aaron gets eaten up.
Yeah, that's like episode 6. And if you're
6 or 5, right?
Yeah,
right.
and if you're not
it's
hooked
like,
by then, it's like, you know, when they
exactly like that should be your hook, line, and say like, holy shit, did they just eat the fucking protagonist? Oh my god, it is the Game of Thrones. They ate their fucking protagonist. So yeah, I hooked a lot of people with that.
There was like another little detail that like in when they're in boot camp, because Rhina and Bertold are there, And every time Aaron's talk, people are like, "Oh, what was it like when you saw the Colossal and the armor?" Every time he talks about him, you can see one of them plainly in the background.
Oh, and they're always catching eyes.
Yeah,
they're always catching eyes.
And
like,
it's just like little details, and the show's full of it. It's full of little details.
One thing that I remember really taking me off guard, I think it's towards the end of season 2 when Rhina and Bertolt finally just go like, "Fuck it, we're revealing ourselves
Right.
and we don't care," is the fact that like when they like get Aaron on his own, they're like, "Hey Aaron, we need to talk to you," and you get that wide shot of like Mikasa and Armin walking away with Erwin, and you get Bertolt, Rhina, and Aaron just on their own. And the plain as day, you hear Rhina say, "I'm the armored titan. He's the colossal titan." And then you just cut away to Armin and Mikasa talking with Erwin. And I'm like, what the fuck? Did they really just do that and just cut away from that moment? Like, just if no one's actually paying attention in the wide shot, like that doesn't happen. And I went back and I'm like, holy shit, they just said it.
No, the entire way that they crafted this whole thing, or he crafted it, or whatever the fuck, whoever you want to get credit to. Again, a lot of callbacks. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it.
Right.
If you're paying attention, you're not gonna know about it because it's just like you said, plain as day, right in the open. And for all you know, it's just like, oh, it's just a story unwinding. Like, no, like this was planned. This was preemptively done on purpose to just kind of laugh at you.
There's a lot of shows, there's especially anime that just do a lot of filler. Attack on Titan is not that show.
No.
There's no filler.
Everything is important. Everything that you're learning, everything they're talking about is important. Like the fact that in the final season there's the girl who takes Mika's scarf, right? And she during the big fight with the Jaegers, or not the Jaegers, but the Marlians, she gets hit. And she's in the hospital, like with Mika's scarf. And a lot of people don't remember her because it was the first season. Mikasa saved her and her mom when a greedy merchant didn't want to like move his cart out the way so they could get out.
Oh yeah, fuck. Man.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that that is so important.
I think it's important, but not at the same time. It's just like it's a minor thing, but it's a connection piece that like if you're paying attention,
it makes the world alive. It makes the world alive.
Yeah. What happened with Historia? Because there's the whole plan of like, oh, we'll make her eat Zeke at some point. They come up with a plan where they're gonna make her eat Zeke so she can take on the founder, do whatever, and they can have a whole thing with Aaron and her to start the rumbling or create like a small rumbling to just show that parody is a force to be reckoned with. And then she gets pregnant, which is a scheme created by Aaron to make sure she doesn't become a Titan. I get that part. Yep. But like that's the end of her story?
No. So she's still the queen.
I feel like the show, the final did not get into that at all.
Well, no, it kind of does though, because she's the one out there to greet everybody when they're coming back, like post rumbling,
and she's just like a farm girl.
Yeah, well, yeah, but for like
she's living on the farm with her
husband,
her child, and her husband, who apparently is no one. That was a big thing because like I do know that some people were speculating that like maybe Aaron impregnated her, which that didn't feel like it was in character for Aaron.
No, but so basically, like she still is queen. So like when she greets him, she's like decked out in her royal stuff and everything, little bolo tie. So she still is queen of parody, and she's the one they're going to be negotiating with, and she's the one who invites them back for that negotiation. So she's still deeply involved in the politics.
But the Jaegerists are kind of a military power that are just allowing her to remain.
Well, you would call it like a military state, but I think she's a Jaegerist at heart.
Okay. Because she's kind of given up on the whole process. She understands she's just a figurehead.
I wouldn't call her a Jaegerist at heart at that point, though. Like I don't think at the end of the day, I don't think she would fully agree with everything.
No.
Well, she just wants to live at this point.
Aaron already told her everything by just touch after the whole situation. So like, I don't call her a Jaegerist in general. She just wants to.
She's ambivalent. She's just like just let me live and you guys can do whatever the hell you want.
Let me live, and let's just course correct. Such as what I see Historia as. Like, I'm here to course correct. I'm not for one or the other. Just want peace, and everyone just fucking like, let's get rid of the problem, but also just be peaceful about it and move forward. Like that's what I see Historia as.
Right.
Yeah, and I do wish the show had a happier ending. I know it undermines a lot of the messaging of the show, but like, why is it so fucking sad? Why can't Aaron sees that he takes out 80% of humanity.
Because he levels the playing field is what it is.
The happy ending, Josh, is that with the exception of Sasha, the favorite scouts are alive. Partly what Aaron wanted, even though we don't want what Aaron wanted at the end. Once we know exactly what he wanted at the end, they're alive. Mikasa alive. Armin's alive, and they're gonna continue on to just, as hokey as it sounds, make the world a better place politically without the violence.
Right.
I would have liked a little bit more of an epilogue, though, of like showing at least a little bit of a happy ending. Like, let me see Armin and Annie get together, have some awful haired blonde kids, and
you want your happy ending. You saw Mikasa dead in her coffin with her scarf still. She lived to the end of her life, which is
but like
exactly what he wanted.
She and Jean need to have like at least been together, because that was like Jean's happy ending, was to be with Mikasa.
There is a theory about that, because so like in the little frames that you see of the tree as the credits roll, there's a lot of people. You can see Mikasa, Armin, Jean, a lot of people visiting. And there's one point it looks like it's just Mikasa and Jean. So some people were like, "Oh, is that them?" You know. So if you want to run that headcanon, you can.
I mean, I'm okay with her like living her life with just like, Aaron was my one and we never got our opportunity, but he gave me these memories, so I'll live with that.
Well, that's what they build you to think of, that because it's like, yep, nope, nobody.
To me, it's still not good enough, because he wants them to live. He does all this for his friends to live, and Mikasa just throwing her life away, sitting at the tree with him every day, just doesn't feel like a win.
But he also told them, "I'm giving you the freedom to do what you want to." Like, you know, he pulled them in to say that, like, as where he may want that for him. He made sure that they were,
with the exception of Mikasa, who he outright told her, like, "You are mine and only mine. Fuck you." So that's that selfishness shit coming back.
Right,
that pisses me off about it. But outside of that, you know, the you know, yes, Mikasa was alone forever alone, whatever meme. But like, at least she lived to her end of her life. No violence, and wasn't shot, wasn't killed, wasn't stomped. Like, she lived her full life, which was, at the end of the day, like, his major goal was his friends and primarily her. So like, that's the happy you get out of that. At least that happened. And then the world continued on and went to shit, So,
yeah, well, I mean, their home immediately went to shit too, because the Jaegerists somehow still took over Paradis. So,
well,
we don't know that.
Well, no, it's,
yeah, we do.
It says that. Yeah,
it's the show ends with saying the Jaegerists rose to power, and they basically, because Paradis was the most advanced civilization that essentially survived the rumbling, they became a superpower, even without the Titans.
Why don't I remember that?
Because it's such a sad fucking ending that you just blocked it out.
Oh, that's funny. Man. Oh, shit. Well then.
Josh, do you have any other questions for the final episode?
Those are the only ones that really stuck out to me. I think everything else I've kind of worked out on my own.
I just appreciate the fact that you said that this was a mastercraft of a show.
This is one of those shows that even if I hated it, I could not discredit what it did and what it's accomplished.
And that's why I appreciate it, because I know you are the most critical motherfucker I know in this goddamn world. And the fact that you can appreciate it and you called it what it was, plus the fact that it was an anime, that you're not an anime guy at all, but you still stuck through with it and still like are applauding it, like, yay.
Yeah.
And stuff like that like us weebs are still, anime is accepted much bigger than it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
Fucking 5 years ago sometimes.
You know what? I do have one more question for you guys.
Sure.
Will you watch the inevitable Netflix live action adaptation?
No.
Nope.
No. Nope.
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 You know why? Because they already tried that officially in Japan as a movie, and that was garbo.
Yep.
So I don't care how good One Piece is doing, which I also hate anyway. But like, no, it's not gonna happen. Sorry, One Piecers. I hate your show. I don't care for it. Horrible
I'm
art.
morbidly intrigued by what's going to happen with Avatar, but I don't want it.
Right.
Avatar, I would say the difference with Avatar.
Is that you didn't watch it because you're a bad person who doesn't like good things.
I tried to watch it. I tried to watch it while it was in syndication, and they weren't doing shit in order. I need my shit in sequential order.
I feel that.
It's on Netflix. It's on Paramount Plus.
Too late. It's too late. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to fucking take a solid shit, dude. No, I'm not gonna try and fucking go back and find me something and start from the beginning.
I feel like that's a good show for you and the kid to watch. You guys can
That's
sit
true.
down.
That is true.
Dude, I just had to sit through fucking King Piccolo get demolished in original Dragon Ball. We're on the way.
Well,
But-
you know,
and-
you could get through Avatar before he turns 20, unlike Dragon Ball.
Hey, I know my ways through this. Don't undermine me, bro. Come on, man. I know what episodes to not watch. I have how many times I've watched that fucking show. But no, I think Avatar has a better shot just because there's the people who care. And granted, you can say the same thing about Attack on Titan, but like it doesn't need it. It's too soon. Like,
No, it
Avatar,
doesn't.
I think
It doesn't need it.
It doesn't need it. And then
It doesn't
Avatar,
need the live action adaptation. The only reason it's getting a live action adaptation is because there is still this weird desire for studios to minimize the impact of animation and translate it into live action that just looks awful, because you
Yeah.
can't do the things in live action that certain animation
No.
shows
You
can
you
do.
can't
No.
send somebody Beyblading, across a Titan in live action. You just no. It's gonna look awful.
with Avatar, there's more effects than anything else, like elemental effects. I think it's doable, and then of course you got a lot of the the martial arts that kind of are intertwined behind it, and using a proper fucking script, unlike the goddamn movie,
Right.
can be done right. And there's been enough time with Attack on Titan. They're trying to ride the hype train.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's all it would be.
I don't care.
So I guess since that was the last question, should we give it the talking smack rating now that it's over, Josh?
We might as well. That seems to be the only way to wrap this up. So Slade, what is Attack on Titan? Is it a must-see or a pass? A pass. Oh my goodness. What a twist.
If you don't watch it, I'm coming to your house and I'm going to duct tape you to a chair and we're going to watch it.
I think you've done more podcasts about Attack on Titan than you've done on your own podcast.
Just about look, the more people I get to watch it, the better it is. And then it exposes them to the lovely world of anime. You get something so well written that it makes them more interested in the medium and the art form that it is.
Agreed.
Lewis, what about you?
Hard pass. God, that show. No, it's a must see. I mean, like, even if you're not into anime, Josh is a proof in the pudding of that. Like, it's a good way to open eyes as to like anime is more than just the godforsaken fan service boobs and ass that it's known as. There's actual
Konosuba?
great storytelling. That's a comedy. That's a different story. Again, if you really want to fall into that, go watch High School of the Dead, and then you come back and tell me how good Konosuba actually is. Anyway, but yeah, it's a must watch.
It's a must watch for me too. We've praised it pretty much for the last 65 minutes or so. It's a show that, to Lewis's point, if you enjoyed seasons 1 through 6 of Game of Thrones, this is one that runs for probably about as many episodes and actually sticks to landing, and it carries over similar themes of like the good guys just cannot catch a fucking break.
That statement right there is a win for us weeps. Go watch anime. Fuck live action. Anime. There you go. Drop it. If Game of Thrones can't stick the landing, but anime can, fuck yeah.
George R.R. Martin's never finishing that book, just so
he's
everyone
never.
knows. It's
No.
never going to happen.
No.
He's making too much money on people waiting for that book.
Oh, Elden Ring made money. He's probably working on Elden Ring 2 right now before finishing that fucking book.
So with that, Slade, please let everyone know where they can find you, and you have a podcast or two that you are on. So maybe let people know about those as well.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Slade. I'm from the Game Club Pod, where once every 2 weeks we talk about video games, not too dissimilar to a book club. Also, in the Mondays where we don't talk about games, I have a show called Between Two Pods, where I have a podcast like Talking Smack on to learn a little bit more about them, figure out what their do's and don'ts are in life. I was trying to think if I'm right about when this one's coming out. We have Decaying with the Boys on next, so make sure you give it a listen because it's a great conversation with
Hell
them.
yeah. Hi Matt. Hi Adam.
Yeah, and for other podcasts that you might have heard on here, we've had Casting Views, Fuck My Work Life, soon to have the Cult Worthy on. We've had the Movie Wire Show, so many other voices that you might have heard here.
And where can people find you on social media, Slade?
At Slade Plays Games on just about everything except Instagram, because that's Slade's life.
You did me a little scare when you initially started pitching Between Two Pods, because you were like, I have podcasts on similar to Talking Smack or like Talking Smack. You said something to that effect. Like, you're nothing like my show. Like, what are you saying here?
I'll never be you, Josh. I'll never be you.
Damn straight.
Tread lightly, sir.
The phrasing just threw me off for a second. It's like, it's an interview podcast. It's not talking nerd shit. Like, I mean, kind of, but
right.
Where am I going with this? I'm not listening to Slade anymore. I need to get back and listen to what he's saying so I know how to transition.
Nice.
Lewis, thanks so much for taking time to be here. Slade, thank you
No
as
problem.
well.
Absolutely.
You can't find me anywhere. I don't do this shit anymore.
Lewis can maybe be found occasionally in our Discord, which you can find in the link in the episode description on whatever podcatcher you're listening to. So please join our Discord and join in on these conversations. If you're watching Attack on Titan for the first time, or if you have recommendations, we will be continuing the anime challenge that Lewis and Slade put me through. I have to watch Chainsaw Man, season 1.
Yay.
That's the next thing on my list. Once I get through, I'm watching Monarch. So that ends at the end of this week that we're recording. So I should be starting Chainsaw Man very soon.
A show not good enough for Josh to remember the name.
Is this sad? This is sad that you say Monarch and how much of a dumb animation nerd I am. I immediately thought of Venture Brothers. I'm like, you gotta watch the Venture Brothers. Wait, never mind.
Oh, you said Monarch. I thought of the VTuber, so that's even worse.
I don't even know that. Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which I'm pretty proud of that thumbnail. You'll see it when the episode comes out, but I did a really good Photoshop of Godzilla off of a screen capture from the show, and he's just there looking over me and Alex like he's gonna eat me, and I've got my scared avatar just like.
Is this so for this one in the Photoshop? Is it going to be all of us crying? Is that what it is?
It's gonna be me crying and Alex with his cat teeth. Still not his people teeth. Just being like, "Hey, Godzilla!"
Let's just make a crying face now and just go ahead and just like screen cap it and then just screen cap and then just be done with it. I just made an ugly crying face, by the way, for those who are listening and don't have a camera, obviously. Camera option.
So
I'm tired.
Yeah. Lewis, let me finish the episode and we can get out of here. Okay. You can follow us on all the social medias at Talking Smack Pod. You can follow us at Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Hive Social, Post News, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Lonnie's website. You can email us your thoughts, questions, reviews of movies, TV shows, whatever we're talking about. Any comments, concerns, or if you want to join in on the conversation, you can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes, Beppo for our original avatars, Retro Ale Studios for our Ricky avatar. Again, please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice. And most importantly, thank you again, everyone, for listening. Luis Slade, thank you so much for being here again. And everyone, take care. We will see you next week when Alex and I talk Monarch Legacy of Monsters.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Watch Star Trek.
Watch Attack on Titan, obviously. We've been talking about
Watch anime.
Yeah, just watch anime.
I'm pretty sure that there's a Star Trek anime out there. If not, watch Lower Decks.